Hello everyone, welcome to Tuesday Night Facebook Live. We're switching it up this week and we had to bump this Facebook Live to Tuesday. I have been so sick and so appreciate you guys being patient and waiting until today. So I'm excited because we're finally getting to talk about this topic, and I have so many of you that reach out to me on a regular basis and say, Alyssa, I need help with what the heck to eat. I don't know what to eat. I eat something one day and feel totally fine and eat it the next day and pay so hard. And so I hear you guys loud and clear. We are going to dive right in tonight into 10 meal prep ideas to help save you time. So tonight, I'm going to be guiding us through this. I am Alyssa, your nutritionist and owner of Soul Food Nutritionista, and I have some awesome tips for you. Now, I got to tell you though, these tips are not just some, idea that I found on Google or anything like that. This is exactly the the blueprint of what I do on a weekly basis to help meal prep myself and make sure that my food and my fridge is fully stocked for the week. So I'm going to be sharing with you a bunch of ideas. I'm not even going to bother numbering them as we go through because they all kind of work together, and I'm probably going to end up listing more than 10. So here is the truth. The people that I work with in fixing their guts, here's the most important thing that I notice. Those that have success in fixing their gut always meal prep. Hands down. The ones that meal prep always end up fixing their gut. Now, of course, there are many other moving parts when it comes to fixing your gut and addressing our stress and making sure we're addressing the underlying imbalances that are going on within the gut. All of these are really important, but I find that those that are setting themselves up for success with their food are committed in all of the other areas as well. But when they have food that's prepped and ready to go, they end up eating the good foods that help them heal. And so I'm going to be sharing with you these tips tonight, and I'm really going to encourage you to actually implement them. And if you need to come back and re-listen or write them down as we go through, please do so, because they really are going to make all the difference tonight. So, there is a method to my madness when it comes to food prepping. I don't just jump in the kitchen and whip up a bunch of random things. Okay, that doesn't work. That's like going to the mall and buying a shirt that you just absolutely love, bringing it home and realizing you don't have any pants to put with it. Yikes, that's not going to work. Has anyone ever experienced that before? They've gone shopping, bought a nice shirt or a nice pair of pants, and they get home and they're like, shit, I have nothing else to put this with. So I have a lot of that happening in my closet, and so I'm working on that. Anyways, we don't take that approach when it comes to jumping in the kitchen. So there's actual method to the madness. So the first thing that I really want you to focus on, guys, is you've got to schedule in meal prep. You've got to schedule it in. If you don't plan to actually prep, if you don't put that in your calendar and block that time off, it ain't gonna happen. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So let me just explain to you how dedicated I am to my meal prep time. So I cook. This is true. You can ask Eric. He's not home right now, but when he gets home, you can message us and be like, Eric, is this the truth? I don't cook any more than 3 times a week. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. I will cook at most 3 times a week. Any more than that, and you won't find me in the kitchen. I am miserable in the kitchen. Okay, that's not true. I love cooking, but I don't want to be in the kitchen every night. That will make me miserable. Because here's the thing, as much as you might love cooking, when you've worked a full day and you come home at night and you want to relax and just unwind, and then you think, oh yeah, I have to jump in the kitchen and make not only dinner, but then breakfast and lunch for the next day. Or do you know what's even worse than that is you wake up in the morning and it's like rush time to get out the door to get to work, and you're trying to pack your lunch for the day and make breakfast. I don't know about you, but that is like the dead last thing that I want to be doing when I wake up in the morning. And the absolute dead last thing I want to be doing at night when I want to be unwinding and relaxing before bed is cooking, even though I love it. Dead last. So you've got to schedule it in. So I cook at most 3 times per week. Here's how I do it. So on Sundays is like a hard no for me. All of my family knows this. My side of the family especially. Eric's family is super understanding. They get this too. But my side of the family, they really know this because my family does Sunday night family dinner every Sunday and I don't go. Now you might think, Alyssa, are you freaking Looney Tunes? Why don't you go to dinner with your family? Well, Sunday is my day to meal prep and set myself up for success for the week. And as much as I love my family, I have to set that time aside, because if I don't, and I've done this before, I go to Sunday night family dinner, and then Monday rolls around and I'm a hot mess because food is not prepped. And when I get hungry, the first thing you go to grab is not always going to be a salad, right? You're going to grab whatever is available to you when you are hungry. And if it's not healthy food, it's going to be the not healthy stuff you're going to reach for first. So Sunday, that's how much I am passionate about setting time aside. So Sundays, hard no. My family and friends know I do not make plans on Sunday, ever, ever, ever. Okay, so Sunday I do my main prep, and I am a little bit intense, and you can start with where you're at. So you can start with implementing 1 or 2 of these things we're going to talk about today. I've gotten to the place in my meal prep where I will prep breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for Monday through Wednesday. I know that might sound tedious to start, but do not panic. Just start with one thing at a time. But Sundays, I prep for Monday to Wednesday. Wednesday, I prep for Thursday and Friday, and Friday, I prep for Saturday and Sunday. So I'm cooking 3 days of the week. Sunday is my biggest meal prep, and I keep it super duper simple. So schedule that shit in, guys. You've got to put it in your calendar. If you don't have a dedicated time for meal prep in your schedule, then I know right now that you aren't successfully meal prepping, and I want you to be. So schedule that in. All right. That's the first thing. Second thing, we're going to jump right into some ideas here. You must have snacks on hand. I'm going to just go out on a whim here and say that I suspect that I am not the only one who gets hangry, right? Please let me know in the comments with a yep, that's me, or a yes, or a hand up, or some sort of emoji to let me know that I'm not alone, that I haven't been the only one that's experienced hanger before. All right? Here is the thing. You want to make sure that you have snacks on hand, because as we said, if you don't have food prepped, you're going to reach for shitty foods. So if you have some healthy stuff prepped, you're going to end up eating that stuff first. So here are some ideas for snacks. First things first, I always on Sunday will hard boil a bunch of eggs. I will count out, if I usually will have 1 hard boiled egg as a snack. I'll give Eric 2. Okay, so I'll count if I need, 3 eggs between the 2 of us per day. I'll count, okay, I need them for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3, 6, 9. I need 9 hard-boiled eggs. All right, we throw them in a pot. Get those suckers hard boiling, put them in a fridge, and then put an H on them with a pen so you know those guys are hard-boiled, because almost every time I crack the wrong ones, it's egg everywhere. Okay, so hard-boiled eggs are such an easy grab-and-go snack. You're getting healthy fat and some protein to help keep you satisfied. Now, if you don't love hard-boiled eggs and you want to be fancy pants, you can whip up an omelet, pour that into a muffin tray, and make like an egg muffin. These guys are really great snacks as well, and the nice part is you can add ham in there, you can add vegetables, whatever your stomach can tolerate, you can mix in and make a little bit of an omelet. Now, in the past, I have taken those and eaten those as a snack. I've made them into more of a breakfast. They freeze really great as well. So what I used to do for Eric is I would make an egg and ham sandwich, kind of like an egg McMuffin kind of thing. So for those of you that are buzzing through the McDonald's drive-through, go to the grocery store, buy some gluten-free egg McMuffins or McMuffin thingies. What do you call them? English muffins, that's the word. Toast them up, make these egg muffins, slap a slice of ham on there, put it between your McMuffin, your English muffin, that's the word. Put whatever condiments you like on it and freeze it. They freeze really beautifully. So I used to take those, I'd wrap it up, and I would stick that in Eric's lunch, and by the time he got to breakfast or lunch, it was thawed and ready to go. So these are a couple ideas that you can do with eggs and are great snacks. All right, where are we here? Egg McMuffins, we got hard-boiled eggs. I love making protein balls, energy balls, anything balls. Mix some good quality fats like an almond butter or any sort of seed butter like a sunflower seed butter. Mixing that with some oats, some shredded coconut, some other nuts and seeds like pumpkin seeds. You can mix these things together and make a really nice protein ball. If you need some recipes, let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to share some recipes for some of my favorite protein balls. But protein balls are a really great thing that you can make on a Sunday and ride those out for the week. I personally love to stick them in my freezer so that I always have just a little sweet something in the freezer ready for grab and go. All right. Now, here's where we start to get into a little bit more strategy when it comes to meal prepping, okay? All right, guys, I see the yes for recipes. I will definitely post those. I'll post them tomorrow in this chat box here. Alrighty, so here's where we get into some more of the strategy stuff. You know, I like to prep a little something for my fridge and prep a little something for my freezer. So on a Sunday, when I'm prepping something for the fridge, that's going to be what I'm going to be eating Monday through Wednesday. But I also want to just put something in my freezer so that I have some sort of grab and go meal. All right, so let me give you an example. Let's start with what we would stock your freezer with. So I like to make parts of the meals that typically take time and are a pain in the ass, quite frankly. I like to simplify those and make them more easy, grab and go. So protein is, I find, the most time consuming part of the meal. Most people, okay, I'll say me, I never think to take meat out in advance and be like, I think I'm gonna have like a steak tonight for dinner. Let me just whip that out of the freezer and thaw that for tonight's dinner. Yeah, never happened in the history of my household, ever. So I like to make it so that my protein source on my plate is already cooked and ready to go. And it's just a matter of either thawing or reheating and eating. Okay. So I like to make, keep in mind, I was plant-based for about 8 years. So a lot of my freezer protein sources are plant-based. You can do some meat ideas as well. I'll give you some of those too. So what I used to do for Eric was I would actually make meatballs and cook them and have cooked meatballs frozen, ready to go in the freezer. So I would just heat them up in the oven and we would have meatballs ready to go for him. I also did the same for hamburgers. Now, when I was plant-based, and I still eat these foods, so this is still something you'd find in my freezer, is I love making falafels. So I'll make like falafels made from chickpeas with some parsley and onions and really delicious ingredients. Again, I cook those and freeze them. So these are already cooked, ready to go fast food meals. So instead of buying the boxed garbage stuff that has tons of ingredients that are irritating your stomach and causing inflammation, we're going to just make it from scratch, throw it in the freezer, and you've got boxed, ready to go food. All right. So meatballs, what else do we got here? Burgers, falafels. I love making, what else do I do? I'll start to make like actual mini meals. So I'll do like a shepherd's pie. I'll go and buy like some freezer containers about yay big, and I will make mini shepherd's pies. So these are some of the things that I would make on a Sunday to throw in the freezer so that I've got meals ready to go. All right. Something for the fridge would then be stuff, again, that we're going to be eating through the week. So this is where I'm going to get into the next level of advanced nutrition that I want you guys to be focusing in on. Again, this isn't some willy-nilly just cook a bunch of shit and throw it in the fridge. We are actually planning for success for not only good food in your fridge, but also making sure that you're getting balanced meals. Because here's what happens. If we're not prepping, then we tend to reach for the heavy carb stuff. Like, you might find yourself eating a lot of pastas and rices and breads because we reach for those things because they're filling. Because we haven't planned out the other components of the meals, like the vegetable and the protein. So we're filling up on these heavy carbs that are really tough to digest, and that's what's leaving you bloated and gassy. So a little bit more planning goes into filling up your fridge, and I'm going to teach you how to balance out these foods and balance out your plate. And this is what's not only going to make sure you have food on hand, but also make sure that your stomach is receiving these foods happily. So when we're stocking up your fridge for the week, here's what I want you to focus on. I want you to think about your food like a checklist. All right. I want you to go through and think, do I have a protein? We're going to go through these in a little bit more detail, but do I have a protein? Do I have a carb? Do I have a vegetable? Do I have a fat? Okay. So write this down. Write this down because you're going to forget it. You're going to need to come back and rewatch this. And I want you to put this on your fridge and use it like a checklist. Do I have a protein? Do I have a carb? Do I have a veg? Do I have a fat? So this becomes the framework for what you are going to be prepping on a Sunday, let's say, for the week. So here's what it can look like. Protein. It could be chicken. It could be beef if you can tolerate it, fish, salmon, haddock, whatever fish you like. If you're plant-based, it could be chickpeas. It could be tofu if your stomach tolerates it, and always make sure it's organic. It could be 2 hard-boiled eggs would give you 1 portion of protein. So these are some protein ideas that you could be cooking on a Sunday to have ready in your fridge. So what I would typically do is I would cook up, let's say I'm doing 3 meals that I'm prepping, and I'm making chicken. Okay, so I need a breast for me and a breast for Eric. So we need 6 breasts of chicken. So I would cook up 6 breasts of chicken in one shot. It's going to take you just as much time to cook 1 or 2 chicken breasts as it will 6 to 8 chicken breasts. So plan ahead and batch it out. All right, so make a bunch of chicken for your protein. So check. You got a protein. All right, carb. You need healthy carb. For all those keto people out there, please, for the love of God, you need carbs. This is where you get your energy from. If you do not have carbs, you are going to crave them. You're going to feel low energy. And even if it hasn't caught up with you yet, it will at some point. And the second your tongue gets a lick of any sort of carb, you are going to revert back so hard, and it is going to be extremely challenging for you to jump back onto no carb. So what is most effective is creating a balanced, healthy lifestyle. So please don't eliminate whole food groups. They're there for a reason. So healthy carbs, this could be, and I'm going to list some ideas, but I'm going to say first, at the end of the day, the foods that I'm listing are not always going to be well received by every single angry tummy of the world, okay? I am not listing foods that I feel everyone should be eating. I believe that each of us need to take an individual approach. So if I say rice would be a great carb for you, I always get some sort of angry tummy that ends up messaging me saying, I can't eat rice. Well, that's okay. Don't eat rice then, all right? use the gist of what I'm saying and eat the foods that your stomach is responding well to. And get on a complete gut repair system like we teach in the Love and Trust Your Guts program so that your stomach stops reacting to all these foods, okay? So this is where people usually get a little hairy when we talk about carbs, because many tummies react to some of these foods. So a good healthy carb option, if you're not reactive to these foods, would be rice, brown rice, please, over white. So brown rice, it could be quinoa, it could be sweet potato, it could be squash, it could be pumpkin, and there's many other types of squash. It could be spaghetti squash, acorn squash, butternut squash. All of these are really great sources of healthy carb. Now, if you're struggling with any sort of grain, then I find that squashes are really easy on the tummy, and even sweet potato. So if you need to stay away from brown rice and quinoa, no problem. Stick to the spaghetti squash, acorn squash, butternut squash, sweet potato, and pumpkin, and you will be well taken care of in the carb department. So what this can look like is roast up some squash and maybe cook a small pot of quinoa. And then you've got that stocked and ready to go in the fridge. So check, you've got a carb happening. Vegetables. Eat the vegetables that you love. The activity here is not to eat shit you don't like. Eat foods you love. Eat foods that make you feel good, and make sure you're getting variety in. So there's no right or wrong. Pick the vegetables that you love. I like to roast my vegetables. So I'll do up a big tray, usually 2, of roasted vegetables, and have those in the fridge. So check, I've got a vegetable. Now, your fats are usually your oils, nuts and seeds, avocados, any sort of dressings. So that tends to be used up in sometimes the oil that we drizzle on top of our vegetables to cook our vegetables, or the dressings that we're using on top of our dish. So you don't necessarily need to prep your fat in advance. Again, it's usually what you're topping on top of your meal. So this is what you can, again, get your mindset into for prepping for the week is, do I have a bunch of meat? Yeah, I got some chicken. Do I have some carbs? Yes, I've got quinoa and I've got some squash in the fridge. Amazing. Do I have vegetable? Booyah, baby. We've got 2 massive trays of roasted vegetables, and all of this can just be thrown into containers. And when it comes to mealtime, you're not cooking, you're just assembling and heating up your meal. So you take a little bit of chicken, a little bit of carb, a little bit of veg, you heat that in the oven, and your dinner is ready to go. It is a game changer, guys. It is life-changing when you don't have to cook every single night. So tonight, after I get off this Facebook Live, I don't have to do any cooking. That was Eric calling. Okay, tonight, after I get off the live, I've already got my chicken cooked. I've already got my salad prepped and ready to go. So tonight I'm doing a chicken salad, keeping it pretty basic tonight. Everything is already in the container, ready to go. All I have to do is throw some salad dressing on it and grab a fork. And that, my friends, is time saving. So stock your freezer, stock your fridge. All right, that was a big one. We talked about balancing your meals. Double and triple batch. Double and triple batch. Every time you're in the kitchen, don't just cook one thing. Double up your batch or triple up your batch and put the leftovers in the fridge. It is going to save you time. It is going to save you time in cooking, in dishes. This might seem really straightforward, but for some reason people just don't do it. And once they start doing it, it changes everything. So I will never go back to the way I cooked before. It just is a shift in how you cook. It's a shift in how you approach the kitchen, but it will make a big, big difference. So double and triple your batch. The other thing is that I love to do is, how can I make one thing and turn it into 3 different things? So one of the things that I love to do is make a big, big pot of chili. Big pot, like big pot of chili. Okay, go buy out all of the tomatoes at the grocery store, all the vegetables, and make a big ass pot of chili, because you can throw chili in the freezer, right? You can have already cooked, ready to go chili. And then one morning, just pull that sucker out and let it thaw and heat it up at night. Okay, so you've got chili ready to go. But you can also turn that chili into stuffed peppers. So another night, you can take a bell pepper, stuff the chili in the pepper, stick it in the oven and roast that sucker, and you've got a totally different dinner. Or you could wrap that chili in some sort of tortilla wrap, preferably gluten-free, top some avocado on it, some nice dressing on top, roast it in the oven, and you've got enchiladas. Amazing. Now, this next idea might seem a little bit weird, but I'm a little bit weird. So one of the things that I love doing with my chili, I do this for breakfast, is I will make a plain egg omelet. Okay, I'll whip up 2 eggs, I make a plain egg omelet, and I heat up a bit of chili, and I pour the chili on top of the egg omelet. I know you're probably thinking, okay, she's weird. That sounds weird. It is delicious. You've got to try it. You got to try it. All right, so now you've got a breakfast with egg and chili. You've got stuffed peppers, you've got enchiladas, you've got chili, and if you want to be super out there and crazy, you could add some curry powder in there, some paprika, some other spices, and make it more of a curry than a chili flavor. So this is the thing, guys, is we are way overcomplicating the kitchen. And I think that, we need to become really lazy cooks. I am super proud to be an incredibly lazy cook. Now, I say lazy, but I should probably say efficient. I am an incredibly efficient cook. Do you want to cook every single day, or do you want to cook 3 times a week? 3 times a week. Join me. Join me in the 3 times a week club. It will change your life. Alrighty. This is the last one I got for you. And I think the most important. Always, always, always have a sweet treat ready to go on hand. Always. I don't even have much of a sweet tooth. I'm more of a salty person. I could devour a bag of chips. My solution for that, instead of eating chips, is I love cucumber slices with salt on them. It does the trick every time for me because it's the crunchy salt that I love. Or a pickle. Pickles will do it too. So always have some sort of sweet treat on hand. Now, I really like doing chocolate pucks. All right. This is one of the things that I would cook on a Sunday and prep for the freezer. So I make a batch of chocolate pucks. Now I'm going to list off the recipe right now. It's just kind of on the top of my head. It's super duper easy. So I will take 1 cup of cacao powder, 1 cup of coconut oil, and about 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup or honey. It just depends on how sweet you like it. I like to keep it nice and mild and more of like a dark chocolate flavor. Now, if you want to be a little bit of fancy pants, you can add some almond butter or natural smooth peanut butter. The Kraft peanut butter, it's crappy, A, and B, crappy in nutrition, I'll say it. Tastes delicious, not great for your tummy. But the texture as well for this particular recipe doesn't work. So you do want natural peanut butter or natural like almond butter where it's much more runny. So you can put some of that in there as well, and it'll give you like a peanut butter chocolate flavor. But 1 cup of cacao, 1 cup coconut oil, and about 1/3 of a cup of honey or maple syrup. Here's what you need to do. You want to put these ingredients into a small pot and put it on low to medium heat, and you want to get that coconut oil and honey liquefied. And you just want to make sure that it's nice and smooth, and whisk in the cacao powder, and then get a muffin tray and line that with parchment paper, like baking cups. I like to buy the baking cups because it just makes it easier to take it out of the muffin tray. So line those up and then pour a little bit of this chocolate mixture into each one. And I like to keep them nice and thin Okay, keep them nice and thin, stick them in the freezer for about a half an hour to an hour, and they're gonna freeze right up. I transfer them to a Ziploc bag, and then I've got these chocolate pucks on hand. You can eat them right out of the freezer. They are so delicious. So if you ever need a chocolate fix, that is definitely going to do it. And having this sort of thing on hand, again, is going to prevent you from always feeling like you're deprived. I want you to give yourself permission to have a salty treat, to have a sweet treat, but equip yourself with an option that's going to help your health. It's going to help serve gut healing instead of promoting inflammation and irritation in your bowels. So chocolate pucks, protein balls, we've got some really great ideas happening, guys. I want you to go back and make sure that you've made some notes from this Facebook Live, because these are serious nuggets. And if you implement even just one or two of them, it's going to make a tremendous difference. And I want you to feel super confident in the kitchen, but also through the week when you know that you've got foods on hand, so that when you're not feeling great, or when you're busy, or when life is just happening, you don't have to worry about food. Food is there and taken care of. So guys, I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Actually, I'm just seeing Risa here has a question. Agreed. I love meal prepping and batch cooking. It's such a time saver and saving grace, and also saves money. It totally saves money. Absolutely. So guys, this Thursday, I'm going to be jumping back on for our next Facebook Live. We're going to be talking about the specific types of fiber that you absolutely want to be avoiding if you have diarrhea or constipation. So many of you in this community are struggling with violent diarrhea that has you feeling glued to the toilet, scared to leave the house, and often taking Imodium just so that you can go out and live your life. And others who are so constipated, they're feeling like they're 9 months pregnant, they're in extreme pain. And listen, guys, I know there's so much conflicting information out there around your angry poops, but I am on a mission to help you have perfect poops, which means we need to have this conversation about fiber, because there are some serious myths spreading around what you should be consuming when you're in a diarrhea or constipated state, and I don't want you to be struggling like I was any longer. So join me this Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be jumping into the topic real deep and making sure that you guys get having perfect poops sooner than later. So I hope you have an awesome night. We'll see you real soon. Bye.